We are on how to your set points keep people stuck with coaching and healing. So this is getting set for shifting your set points. I'm Philip Montrose with my wonderful wife and partner Jane Montrose.
Yeah, Philip, you left out the part you said how set points keep people stuck with coaching and healing.
Yeah, how set points
You want to
do.
say and how to resolve it.
Yeah, you did. We're definitely going to help you resolve it. We don't want you to leave you there. We first want you to recognize what it is and then what to do about it. It's
Right.
could be the elephant in the room, so to speak.
Right.
And and we're co-directors, Jane and I, of Awakenings Institute, where we help people transform their lives and promote more love in the world. And this is an important topic we've been teaching about for quite a while in our coaching and healing. And we're actually writing a book on these set points, what they are, this hidden barrier that keeps you stuck, as we'll explain. Hey, have you ever felt like you're running into a wall, hitting a ceiling? Wow, that hurts. Stuck in the mire, you can't get out, stuck in the mud. These are words, phrases we use when we have this set point that keeps us returning to these emotional, sometimes spiritual points of view or reactions. And it's really important and often not recognized and misunderstood what's going on, although we're experiencing it virtually every day. And years ago, um, Jane and I actually kind of ran into this being hitting a wall, hitting the ceiling at our jobs where things weren't inspiring or actually feel very restrictive. And I think a lot of people can relate to that experience um, where things just don't feel like they're very interesting anymore. And that's what you're doing a lot of your time. And yet we knew there was so much more possible. Something was clearly missing. And this took us on a journey of learning about holistic healing and coaching and some of the best things that are around. And we developed some of our own techniques through our classes and individual sessions that we found work really well, that people have these shifts and the set points, as you could call it, uh, by experiencing them, integrating them into your experience. We're actually going to share two secrets with you today. Really, what are the set points and how to shift them, related secrets. And we're also going to share the five keys on how to start to shift your emotional set point to have more happiness, better weight, better health, better career, whatever it is, better emotional states, whatever you're reacting to, whatever's repeatedly getting you down. We'll share how to go and then how to go deeper into it to really sustain it. Some people really want to understand this at a deeper level for a longer term basis. Jane?
Yeah, I'm excited about this. We have actually been aware of it and teaching about it for many years. It still feels so fresh though, and we will be talking just a little bit about how the science relates to it, which gives it more validity. Uh, but I think it's a concept few people recognize, even though it's essential to their success. And it's was originally termed set point related to people's weight, their physical weight. And it also relates to probably any place where you might be stuck, key areas like your health, prosperity, relationships, technically you name it, because
Mhm.
the concept is, and I like this uh, quote from thought pioneer Florence Shin, who described it this way: the game of life is the game of boomerangs, or a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy.
Mhm.
And what that means, actually, in relation to science, is that whatever we're vibrating, we're going to attract more of it.
Mhm.
And we tend to have a place where, with the set point, a default place. So it is easy to discuss it in relation to weight. And it was originally coined the term in the 1980s when researchers discovered that we all have a place that we gravitate to. And I know I spent many years trying to lose weight earlier in life, and I would often start successfully to lose weight, and then something would almost panic in me, and I would give up on the diet after a couple of weeks and boomerang right back to where I started. We tend to do this in just about any area. If you consider now, if you look at it in relation to the concept of morphic fields, kind of the idea that we live in realities of our own creation. So the morphic field of your weight might be whatever it is. And the point is that you can shift. If it can be in that reality, it can be in another one. And that's the concept that we're talking about. The set point means that you're probably going to stay there until you do something about it. And we offer a lot of different options, and many times it's important to understand different things about it, which is why coaching is so important too. In relation to actually shifting it, if you know how to do it, then you're empowered, right? So it is something that is, to me, a fundamental part of having the ability as a creator to realize my dreams, understanding that I can shift those set points or morphic fields. I can change from one reality to another. Anyhow, it is a concept. If you look at it in relation to morphic fields, you're talking about something that's holding an energetic pattern in place. So it could be a morphic field of being too busy, not enough time, not enough money, or I'm not enough. Whatever it is, ultimately, to live fully and to expand and realize our potential, we need to discover what it is and how we can change it in a place, because if it's not where we want it, energetically, it's repressing our life energy, which we often term it aliveness. Also, as Philip was suggesting, when we were many years ago, when he was an educator and I was an architect, and we weren't at all interested in what we were doing anymore, I did feel like my soul was dying. So you're repressing your aliveness, your dreams, your callings, your desires. It's almost like being zombies sometimes. I felt a little bit that way at that point, not knowing what to do, being alive, but not really living. And it's not essential to stay there. I think that what we're going to talk about today is solutions, and also shifting our perspective on who we are, which is an important part of it. So we're in a time of great change now. We're in a time where we can experience great change, and understanding that everything is energy and that reality is fluid and not fixed. We're going to talk about how we can change in seemingly impossible ways, even in situations that might seem to us to be unchangeable. And looking at the idea that who knows what else might be possible. I think those who know us know that we have a lot of admiration for the question, what else might be possible? Because we can open to that place where a lot more can happen. So what do you think, Philip?
Yeah, so let's focus in on, we can change these set points, but these patterns, let's just understand the problem, why it's kind of difficult to change those patterns. There's a number of things to be involved, and once you're aware of the kind of the problem, it actually becomes easier to change the set point. And again, it could be in different areas at different times. We could be talking about your weight, your happiness, certain emotional perspectives where you have a lot of anger or fear or doubt. These things just come up like boomerangs. They keep entering automatically, default. So
Right.
that's why it's so important, because this is where we can spend a lot of our time spinning our wheels. There's another one, hitting the head against the ceiling, that hurts, or bumping into a wall. That's not fun either. All those things. So many people think that this is just the way I am. I can't do anything about it. Uh, and there's a lot of conventional thinking that reinforces, well, okay, then, that's just the way it is. That's my programming. That's the way I've been. My family's always been this
Right.
way.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah. And that's
overweight.
another thing that we tend to gravitate towards where our where we feel we are socially.
Hmm.
That's a really important point too. Like my family's always been this way.
Hmm.
It's kind of like it's set.
Yeah. Now, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about understanding that genetic predisposition too, but it reminds me of that famous phrase by Schopenhauer that when we want to change it first, we're going to be ridiculed. Like we say, maybe I can change this. And, people say, oh, no, or even our own inner critic says, no, never. And then the second part is there's a lot of opposition. Hey, I'm doing it, but then the entrenched forces, the automatic patterns, or people in society just say, you can't do that.
Right.
Or we tell ourselves that, we have a whole course and history of telling ourselves we can't do it. And then finally we do change our set point and society says, yeah, you could do it all the time, and then, we're thinking about the future now where we're in a more wonderful, supportive, soulful world. And we can at least make that in our own personal journey, even if society isn't there yet. So going back to some of the science is that our neural pathways, brain science,
Hmm.
have these familiar patterns. We want to do things the easiest way because it's the least amount of energy we have to spend, which is efficient, of course. The problem is when we're talking about things which are negative, which could be it's very easy to overeat. It's very easy to criticize myself. It's very easy to blow into anger over this. So that's very easy because we've done it so many times, and there's these pathways in our brains associated with our feelings and thoughts, and they're quite deep. And so that's why we tend to travel that route. Um, and then of course stress will definitely evoke that too. Stressful situations aggravate it. We're in a fast-paced, highly changing society filled with social media kind of racking our brains, and this can create stressors and set patterns too that either reinforce or create problems. So couple things to be aware of here to change. Three things actually they found uh, is that we do have a genetic predisposition. Some people may, have more automatically weight issues from birth or depression or anxiety, etc. That's a factor, but probably a bigger factor is your experiences in life. What have you experienced? And if you've had traumas or challenges in certain areas, that can aggravate or create a problem, right? But here's the good news. The third part of that affect these set points is your neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change and mold, and doing that by interventions or intentions, like the process we're going to introduce to you today. So make sure you stay till the end to get that powerful visualization we're going to share with this changing your set point. So there are many different ways to do it, but it does take some time and energy. It's not usually a one-shot deal because you've developed these patterns maybe for many years, but the good news is you can change. Um, quick story here. One of my clients, Darlene, she was having a lot of stress and produced some weight issues of just overeating, sort of self-medicating. She was a single mom, two children. She had her own business. And when talking with her and helping her out, realizing that she was in this very masculine role of having to do all these activities and managements and really didn't take much self-care, feminine nurturing time, figuring out how to do that and balance that and doing some holistic EFT tapping and soul connection like we'll be doing today. That helped shift her. And also it was actually an inspiration for her children so they would live a more balanced life. That was actually a motivation for her. So let's see what's possible here, Jane.
Yeah. And I think I'd like to just go back into the the biggest picture for us is our approach is holistic. In other words, we view the body, emotions, mind, and spirit as all being connected. And the spiritual aspect is the deepest, and in terms of change, the most effective for changing things. Um, Philip was mentioning how we tend to perceive ourselves in certain ways. And it might be I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or no one in my family has ever done this, whatever it is. As spiritual beings, we are not victims. In other words, we are not victims of forces beyond ourselves. We are creating our reality and spiritually. So that if you look at it spiritually, we are creators.
Jane, you'll have to unmute for a moment. Sorry there. Jane, just unmute yourself. So as Jane is figuring out how to talking about how can we can be.
I think I did it.
You did it. You're back. Sorry.
Did I just
No,
disappear?
that's okay. You're here. Just continue.
Well, when did I mean, did
You were
you hear
talking about
anything of
where
what
creators were not victims of our circumstances.
Right, right. And this is a very important thing to understand, because if we feel that we are limited, then our possibilities are proportionately limited.
Right.
If we realize that we're creators, and I think the next thing I was going to say is that we're creators because the creator resides within us, in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is in our hearts also that we recognize that we want to live fully. We want to feel alive. We want to feel excited. We want to feel like we're doing something that's meaningful. But so many limiting factors beat us down to a point where we feel like we're in a hole that's so deep that we can't find any way out. So relating that to our worldview, one of the things that we're going to be talking about, and this has to do with morphic fields, also the idea that if you think you're in one reality, you can shift into another one. When we view ourselves as victims, generally we also view ourselves as living in a world that is unfriendly to us. Like it's dangerous. We're unsupported. Everything is working against us, in other words, or in some way or another. If we can shift that, so that's one morphic field. If we can shift it, we're creators. We are not limited in any way by circumstances around us. And we actually live in a friendly world, or you could even expand it a little more, say we live in a friendly universe that wants the very best for us. And you might be able to feel the difference, feeling that now. Like, think of yourself as a victim. Like, everybody's against us. I'm sure most of us at least have been there. Everybody's against me, and things never work out for me. There's no way for me to get out of this. I know there's just no way. Just feel that in your body, and notice how your posture feels and your energy feels. To me, it's like I can feel my energy is waning. If I shift and I open my heart, open to the love that I am, and the fact that I am a creator, we live in a friendly world. What about that reality? I live in a friendly world where the universe is on my side and it wants the very best for me. I just have to cooperate by bringing that realization into this world.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, my posture straightens up. I can feel more energy flowing through my body, and everything shifts for me. And that is part of a holistic view too, is everything is energy. And in that field of energy, or different fields, reality is not fixed. We can change even in situations, like I said before, that we think it's impossible that this could be different. But if you can envision that friendly world, and that you are not separate from the things that you want in this friendly world, there is a connection between you and the things you want, it feels different. And it is interesting because we believe many times that we're separate from, you could say, our creator. We're separate from each other. I'm like, I'm in this little ball or box. I'm in a box. A lot of people, will say, I feel like I'm in a box.
Right.
When actually the box is the illusion. We have to realize that just because most of us believe that we're in the box doesn't mean it's true. There actually is no separation between us and anything. When you come down to it energetically, all is one. It's just that we don't understand that. We put those walls in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what Philip was talking about with the brain, we ride or we walk those same paths in our brain over and over, saying the same thing, like, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, or whatever it is. This is never going to happen. Doesn't matter what I do, it's not going to change. We just keep traveling there. It's kind of like forging a path in uncharted territory. First, it's just this little path, but then more and more people travel it, and it becomes like a freeway. So the easiest path to travel for us becomes those things that we think about most. The things we think about ourselves and about our reality the most.
Mm-hmm.
And so what if we then build new pathways? That's what we're talking about. We don't have to follow those set paths. We can change it. We can forge a new path. And then we have to, that's where Philip was also saying that many times it isn't just like an instantaneous thing, although it can be. Many times it is something you have to remember to tell yourself, like, I live in a friendly universe. Yeah. I really do. Rather than whatever it is I was telling myself yesterday. Because we're forging new pathways for ourselves. That may be uncharted territory for us too.
Right.
So part of it is being patient. But we're also going to talk about ways that we do things that can speed them up. And sometimes there are just really quick shifts that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how that is in brain chemistry that can happen, but it does happen. I actually, just before we started here today, for some reason, I tweaked something in my knee. And we live in a 2-story house. I was going up and down the stairs, and I could barely get up and down the stairs. The pain was fairly substantial. And then I did a little process of tweaking my reality, and the pain went away completely. It's gone. And that happened instantaneously. So that is possible. The point is, I think, just to stay with it, whatever it is, if it's important to you.
And we're going to share with you a way to do that for yourself today and going forward, right?
Right.
And so are we ready to talk about the factors for shifting set point?
This is really helpful.
Right. Yeah. So we have 5 factors, 5 parts of shifting your set point we're going to go through. I'll briefly describe this, and we'll have a little experience. And as we're going through these different parts, one thing to keep in mind is that sometimes things happen just instantly, but sometimes it's going to take some more support. There are different levels to it, some additional training. So sometimes
that's why coaching is so important.
Yeah, that's why we call this is about coaching and healing. Why we are coaches and healers and offer training. I just want to put that in the mix here. And yet I think just knowing about this will be very valuable for you. So you want to start with focusing on a specific area. Every word in this is important. Focus on a specific area, and that might be about your health. It might be about your career. Maybe it's about a relationship. Maybe it's about just a kind of way you react to a certain situation. So you know exactly, not just generally, I want to have better health in general. What does that mean to you? Does that mean you're going to, have more energy? Does that mean you're going to be pain-free or reduce pain? What does that mean? Okay. So, and again, you may need some commitment to this to really shift it, and you probably some support and training may be part of it too. Second, identify the set point precisely. So what is it? So if there's a certain pain in your body or a certain part of your relationship that's not working out, say what is, if it's a pain, how painful out of 10, 1 out of 10, measure it, evaluate it. If it's some kind of anger about your relationship, how, thinking of a specific issue that, say, your partner's late all the time, and how, what kind of emotion, 1 out of 10, how strong is it? In other words, get some kind of way of understanding it specifically.
Can
Um,
I say something here
yes,
too?
go ahead, Jane.
Whatever it is that's happening, also, sometimes we don't want to face it because we think it's going to show that there's something uh, bad about us or something wrong with us. And I think it's important always to realize that when we're talking about limitation, we're talking about a misunderstanding. So if we're thinking, for instance, things never work out for me, that's a misunderstanding. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person or that you're not capable. And I think it makes it easier to be honest with yourself and really to get into those places. You need to get to the kind of the heart of the matter with things
Hmm.
for it to work. Just remember, you're a magnificent spiritual being. You're a creator. You're not you're not just
Yeah.
a throwaway. So
Yeah, and
whatever it is, it's okay.
it's okay. It may be hard to remember you're a creator when you're having these struggles in certain set points, and just know, maybe, hey, maybe I have a set point, I have a challenge with my relationship, but my health is great. Well, evaluate your health. Maybe your wealth or your career is great, but you have this problem um, with your health or another area. So realize there's some areas that are probably going really well that you can feel good about, and know that you can shift this in another area too where you're weaker in, or you have a lower set point. So to just continue with the 5 steps before we take you through it, finding out precisely what keeping you stuck. It may come back to something in an earlier part of your life, a trauma. The lady who was trying to manage her family and her business, well, she had to take all this responsibility growing up as a child, so there's things that were related to childhood programming that she was now doing in her everyday life, which turned out into a weight issue. So we want to find precise factors, triggers that make sense, because there's some healing involved in that too, and some reprogramming. Step 4, we call is
Can I
go
add
ahead, Jane.
something in here? And I think this is an interesting thing too, that I've observed with people and myself is if we travel a certain pathway a lot, another way of looking at it is when we feel stuck, it's like we're digging a hole, and the longer we dig, the deeper it gets, right? So it is important with that in mind to realize that if something's been around a long time, it may feel more, you might believe in it more,
Yeah,
like
convincing.
this really is, yeah, it's more convincing.
Yeah, right.
But it's not true.
Yeah,
And of course you have a you have a further way to go, which also doesn't mean that it has to take a lot of time. It just is a matter of being open to what it is. But the most important thing that starting out is not believing what you're telling yourself. And that's hard because it's what you're telling
right,
yourself. And often it's what society has been telling you too. Your
right.
family or society at large, like if you do this certain thing, you're really unacceptable.
Yeah,
It just, you just don't do that, you know.
yeah. And this is pieces of the puzzle, and we want to go one step at a time, because if you take too big of a step, it may throw you off. It just may be too hard to take a step, to say if you have an anger problem, you blow up and just say, hey, I feel calm and great. Well, no, I can feel calmer now. That I can feel more calmer. You might moderate it, make it a step. I can feel I'm having this problem with my health. Well, I can feel healthier now. I can feel like I have a little more energy. I can find a way to feel better about this relationship or my health now. So it could be a small step, especially when you're starting and building these neural pathways.
Right. Yeah. And another part of that too is don't start with your biggest problem.
Right.
Because actually if you can start with smaller things and build up belief. Belief is really important, right? If you don't believe that something is possible, you're not going to continue with it. So start with little things and see what happens.
Hmm. And that fourth part of the shifting the set point, the fourth point is actually shifting the energy with a precise process. We're going to offer one today, and we teach many other ones. And again, you may want to do it multiple times, and there also may be other layers, like layers of an onion, where you get one part of it, and oh wow, and that's why you may often we hear with people, our clients, students, some say, I thought I took care of that, or I thought they might not say shifted my set point upgrade. You did in one area, but there's another area now that was sort of in the background, uh, or now in your path or your next area to become an empowered creator in. So it doesn't mean you're not going forward. It just means you're moving on to other territory. It's part of life's journey, of course, and it can
Right.
be quite exciting and exploratory and creative, and it's holistic, a body,
Hmm.
motion, mind, spirit approach. Um, so just before, and then ultimately you want to integrate the change into your life. Let me give you a quick story about myself. Uh, I used to react quite a bit when we would have an internet problem that would affect our online business. So I would kind of panic, oh no, the internet is down or there's some kind of thing in our website or whatever. And this would be very automatic, would be very unthinkingly, the heart would beat fast. I'd be very nervous. I'd be very
Mhm.
agitated, feel like I'd have to do something right away. I wouldn't even know reminds me of the chicken cut running around with the head cut off idea. Anyway, that's sort of a little bit much, but anyway, whatever. But it wasn't good. My set point was low in that. So what did I do? Um, Part of it is starting to give me myself a different mindset, and the mindset was, well, this is going to happen. You know, if you're in a relationship, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have some health challenges. In this case, you're going to have some with our business, some internet technical challenges. That's part of life. That is part of doing business, and it's repairable. You can have a better health. You can have a better relationship. It's possible. And knowing that was very calming to me. And a big and here, I did some holistic EFT tapping and soul centering as we're about to do with you. And and then I was just ready, kind of, I can be sure the internet is going to go down again, between now and sometime probably in the next couple months, out of the blue, and I'm going to be ready for it. Now, that doesn't mean will I be perfect and calm and like a Buddha under the lotus tree? Probably not, but I'll be much calmer. Or if I get upset, it'll last much briefer. And
Right.
I'm more resilient now. I've raised my set point in this area and it feels much better. It feels really empowering and I feel so less vulnerable and on edge on that. And ultimately, the fifth step in shifting your set point is integrating the change into your life. Um, and just let me just show you the 5 steps again here briefly. And there's the integrating the change into your life. And something to keep in mind here too, uh, a lot of times people can regress, make steps because they go back to old patterns, which may involve even people who are not supportive. We knew a colleague who was quite extremely heavy overweight, and even though he had some wonderful abilities and spiritual components going forward, this weight thing would just be really dominating his life. He'd go out to eat late every night with friends who were often overweight and eating unhealthy foods and so forth. And it was just something that he wasn't willing to break free of that, and maybe didn't know how to break free either. But the good thing is with the proper knowledge, support, tools, training, you can shift this. Jane?
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're going to do, which people who know us know the process, we're going to do our mud to mountaintop process. And the idea, you could call it a tale of two realities,
Yes,
because
two realities here.
one is wallowing around in the mud, so it is like two morphic fields. You can be there, um, whatever it is, when something is disturbing you. And again, it's not, if something is disturbing you, it's part of life. Don't feel bad about it. The point is, you are a creator and you have something to do about it. So I'm just settling myself here a little bit. So what we're going to do is a guided visualization. And as we do it, also be aware again of your posture and your energy. So starting out, and you may have been feeling pretty good when we started, but but just imagining, those times when you're just down, you're wallowing maybe in the mud, or you feel like you're trapped in some way. And again, just notice how that feels energetically. Or you might be frustrated or angry or anxious or stressed. Notice how that feels in your body. And again, with that sense of what does that do to your aliveness? And of course, with that, then how confident do you feel that it can change when you're in this place? It can feel pretty permanent sometimes. And what we're going to do now is start to shift into that friendly universe and imagine beings of light. If you believe in them, angels, whatever it is, just imagine a loving universe and that you can breathe in that loving energy. And of course, I believe we all deserve to breathe in the most beautiful, wonderful, enlivening kind of energy possible. So just breathing in that wonderful energy and feeling it all through your body. Exhaling anything that feels dense. You can just start to exhale some of that muddy energy so you feel lighter with every breath. And asking that any energy that is not your own to leave your space. And this is another thing. We pick up energy from other people, other places, and other times, and we take it on as if it's our own. We're bathing in the energy of the consensus reality, you could say, of the majority of people around us, if we're in a populated area, especially. So we're taking that energy in, and it might cause us to feel a certain way, and we don't even know it's not us. So just asking any energy that's not your own to leave your space. We also leave parts of ourselves in other places, other times, with other people. So ask for all of that energy to come back to you. And you can feel that both in your body and imagining that ball of light around you that is your energy field. Just bringing all of your own energy back. You might notice just with that you feel more present in your body in the moment. And of course, everything is happening in the moment. And then just continuing to breathe. And we can breathe lighter energy now. We're going to go up to a beautiful mystical mountaintop way high up. It's so high up, it's above all of those consensus reality thought forms that call them sometimes the mass consciousness thought forms, however you define that. But just imagine drifting up to this mystical mountaintop. It's way, way high up. And notice you become lighter and lighter as you rise. And then landing there. And it's one of those beautiful places with a 360-degree view of the world around you that is just magnificent, just seeing the beauty of the world in this quiet place. Just feeling maybe a gentle breeze on your face. And noticing how peaceful it is. And as you look out over that expanse, also it has a tendency to open the heart too, because the heart, divine love, you could say, pure love in the heart is connectedness. It's understanding that we're part of this, all of this magnificent earth. So Just breathing that love in and allowing it to radiate out from your heart, filling your whole body with it, and then radiating out around you. And now you might consider something that you would like to shift. Maybe some kind of stress. And again, I wouldn't take the biggest problem you have. This is just a short example. So maybe something that is causing anxiety or stress in you right now. Just considering that. And again, you might start to feel your energy waning a little bit. And with that, then also imagine the universe above you, like all the stars and this complete place of openness. You could call it the field of pure potential. This is what we call it. So you're here in this field of pure potential, and you're having a certain experience in this field now, focusing on whatever it is, the stress or anxiety or whatever. And again, noticing what that is, opening in that field of pure potential. And this is that idea of morphic fields. So we're going from a solid, in other words, a solid set reality, a set point, to a place of complete openness. And just ask yourself from this, in this place of pure potential, of complete openness, what else might be possible other than that stress or anxiety or whatever it is? What else could enter into your reality now? Without any agendas or expectations, just allowing and noticing. Notice what you notice. This is also something that might take some practice. And the really wonderful thing is that you can come up to a mountaintop like this anytime, and you can open to that spaciousness and just feel that also in your body, that spaciousness. Where there might have been tension, just can relax. Where you might have felt constricted, just imagining your field, that ball of light around you, expanding out. And notice. And then I'm curious, Philip, did you have anything that you noticed?
I'm just noticing a lot more love and light coming into me, just feeling very light and fluid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just focusing on anxiety. A lot of times I have time anxiety. Like I have so many things to do. And just going from that place, which is constricted, feeling there's some reason for having that anxiety, to opening in this completely open space to what else I might experience. And my body just relaxes. And what the thought that comes into my mind now is that it's all here for you now. Kind of like, don't worry, be happy. You know?
Mhm.
It's okay. And as I mentioned, you can do something called anchoring, which is a term from NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and just so that you can come back to this place. Notice what it's like here now. Maybe if you were to surround yourself with a color that would represent it, what would it be? And then have the intention in the future of just focusing on coming back to this place. It's kind of like when you think about one of your favorite vacations ever or something, you go back and you feel the way you did then. You can come back to the mystical mountaintop and feel the way, if you are if you are actually feeling that openness and expansiveness, you can come back and feel that way again just by recalling it. And then with that, we're going to drift back down to where we started, thanking the universe for all these blessings. And notice yourself where you are resting, sitting or lying down, whatever it is. Breathing in more active energy to return you to your normal waking state. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So that is, and this is what we call the field of pure potential, is that idea in of a morphic field where you can have a solid or a wave.
Yeah,
particles, I guess particles or
quantum
waves.
physics.
Right. That you move into the place where nothing is solid. Everything is potential. And ask what other potential is there other than the thing that you're experiencing that isn't serving you. Because the tendency in the universe, it is a friendly universe. What happens is something better, generally, if you're open to it. And of course, being in that loving place, opening first to love, because that helps to expand your energy and opens your field.
Yeah, or to put it, when we're in that particle or wave, that quantum world description, the particle, if it's a stuck or lower set point, we go into the wave, open the possibility of pure potential, let whatever that is reconfigure and bring it back into our particle and our reality. We can be in a different particle, a different experience there.
Right. Yeah. So if you say you started with weight, we talked about weight, and you have a tendency to gravitate to a weight that's greater than what you would want, you could go into this place and just ask what else might be possible and bring that reality in.
Yeah, and that's how you can start changing your set point.
Right.
And if anyone has just wanted to share a little bit about their experience, that would be interesting to hear too.
I'll share.
Oh,
Okay.
go ahead,
Hi,
Margaret.
Like you, Jane, I went into that place where I have anxiety over not enough time.
Right.
And so when I was on the mountaintop, I had a very different experience because I'm familiar with the mountaintop, but I was like I was in a Dali painting, and I had this giant clock that was melting. Dali paintings, and it was the hands on the clock would just spin, 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 spin really fast. And then I asked, well, what else is possible? And then they started slowing down, and they just kept slowing down, and then it was ticking very slow, boom, boom, and then I felt just so much more relaxed seeing my clock. And then it actually went back to, instead of melting, just a nice round clock, and it was just, I felt very peaceful and felt like, and I laughed, and and it felt just that the stress was gone. It was funny at that point. It wasn't any longer stressful.
So. Yeah. Well, thank you. That was great.
It's a good example. So,
and it is interesting. A process like this doesn't take that much time either. If you're noticing something like that, like, oh, I'm feeling like I don't have enough time, just sit down for a moment, breathe, go to the mountaintop, open to the pure potential, and see what's possible.
Right. Yeah. So
you're a powerful creator, remember?
You are. And shifting your set point is part of becoming a powerful creator, becoming aware of where you have a lower set point and how you can raise it and going for it.
Right.
So should we share how people can go forward, Jane?
Yeah, why not?
Right. Well, we do have an upcoming program which focuses on not only shifting your set point, but a lot of spiritual growth and personal and professional growth with holistic spiritual coach and healing with EFT certification program starting February 11th at this point. And there's a shortened URL there, tinyurl.com/HOL coach. And there's a lot of benefits. There's a one-of-a-kind experience here. There's a couple people who've taken our course who can share a little maybe with you about it. And some of the benefits is you receive an in-depth holistic coaching roadmap. So when you have this step-by-step and support and training, because we do teach for going in depth, you can actually implement it and help other people do it, because some people do it in their career or start a business with it too, or just have the sheer spiritual growth and quantum leaps that this provides you, this roadmap, and the powerful number 2 coaching healing methodologies like hypnotherapy. Jane mentioned NLP. We have a lot of our own, what we call getting through techniques we've tested over the years that are very effective for shifting your set point and creating a more wonderful reality. And our next course is called Manifesting Your Dreams. It's a 3-part course for the whole program, and manifesting your dreams, and then the heart and soul coaching and healing in your life purpose are the 3 parts to it. So we also include both coaching and healing. Most programs, oddly enough, only have coaching, or you could take a healing program. What we found is you really need both to be fully effective. Because if you are coaching, which is wonderful, especially a holistic spiritual approach, and you're supporting people, giving them strategies, but they're stuck because of, say, their set point is stuck because of anxiety or fear in some area, you want to know how to clear that. And we began to introduce that to you today. Also,
Can I say something about that?
Go ahead, Jay.
It just made me think. Some coaches, if you think of sports coaches, and I think some success coaches and other coaches also, they'll, it's like feel the fear and do it anyway. It's kind of like you're just going to move right through this.
Power through it.
Right. Why do that when you can clear the fear and then just easily move forward? So that's why it's so important to have them both. And the same is true for healing. The healing is great, but actually clearing something is just one part of a healing process. There are actually 3 parts, but you have to be able to integrate it and bring it into your life. And that's where the coaching comes in.
Yeah, and you want some depth and mastery to really get it. And I don't know, Susan is here, who took our program. She went through quite a bit when she was starting our program to where she is today. It's almost like you're a different person in some ways. You've changed your set point so much. Susan, would you mind sharing a little bit about that? Because it's a rather inspiring story, what you've gone through.
Oh my goodness. Well, when I joined up with the coaching and healing program, I was just looking for support and a place to be part of something that was positive and help me feel connected. My husband had passed away after a long bout with cancer. And through the program, I think I've gained a lot of understanding of what my life has been about, and learning to overcome a lot of hurdles, raising a lot of set points. I was just
right.
sitting here thinking, today it was with my sister, and the buried childhood resentment I felt towards her. It's not about the adult at all. It's like that there's this little child still that peeks her head up, and her set point has to be raised. I think that's part of it, to come to a place of more peace and knowing that she's safe and all those types of, and supported. So that all came through partly from the healing and coaching program, as well as the angel work. And it's been a lot of stuff, but that set point is the little trickster,
Right. Well, it's good to know about it. Most people don't even know they exist, and yet we're kind of being controlled by them.
Yeah. And when I went to the mountaintop today, wow, I just thought, yeah, I can have peace here. and that's what it's about for me. That's part of what my soul is trying to show me, is that I can create peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I
Yeah.
think from what I've noticed with you, I think you've grown a tremendous amount spiritually too.
Yeah.
I think the way
Yes.
you perceive yourself is different too.
Right. That's a big
Yes.
thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
It is this very spiritual, deep spiritual work for me.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
great to see it. Yeah. And be a
Mhm.
part of it and have you and
Thank
you
you.
know, share it with other people in the class and so forth. That's just wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And a lot of people, everyone does it for the huge spiritual growth that they experience through this spiritual coaching and healing. And some people like to apply it to their career or start a business with it too. So it works on a couple levels wherever you're coming from. And just to complete the benefits there, it's very affordable tuition, especially in a lot of returns on the investment, like Susan was sharing. And a lot of programs actually are quite a bit more expensive without the coaching and healing. Um, and there's a lot of support that makes a big difference.
Can I
And
go back to investment?
oh, let's go back to investment. Okay.
Well, just because obviously Philip and I have taken a lot of programs
You're right.
over the years, and to be where we are now, we've learned many, many things. And what I would say also about the investment is that these are tools you have for the rest of your life that could benefit you. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be without, well, like what I was saying about my knee. Just, I don't have to worry about my knee now. If I didn't have tools, who knows? I might even have to go to a doctor because I don't
Yeah.
know how to change it. And yet and that was almost instantaneous.
Yeah.
Now the problem is gone.
Yeah. And I'd still be panicking over the internet.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Right. And just to conclude this, it's a lot of support. Big thing is getting the support to do this, because figuring it out on your own, while possible, very few people can, just because you're meant to get the support, and you're going to save a lot of time and energy getting direct instruction from us regularly in the regular classes live, and they're all recorded if you miss any. And you'll be part of this beautiful, small, heart-centered community, which is hard to find the other classmates to practice with and develop relationships.
Yeah.
And again, you
Yeah.
go to tinyurl.com, HOL/HOL coach, to find out about it. Margaret, did you want to add anything too? Because Margaret has taken our program as well.
I think I'll emphasize what you were saying about the coaching and healing part, because when I initially joined a few years back, it was really for my own healing. I was really looking for something for myself, to give myself tools to get myself out of a few things, places that situations that I was experiencing at the time. And the value of actually being in a class and then you volunteering in that class, so you actually receive the process that you're teaching and you receive the healing from it. It was so fundamentally and mind-blowing changing for me in a way. I just couldn't believe how quickly I was able to shift so many things that I had been struggling with. And I am
those set points.
all those set points.
Those crazy set points.
Yeah. And then the thing that I also really appreciated was the amount of time and the relationships that I grew with my classmates. I have some of my absolute best friends now that I have are the people that I have met in those classes. And Susan is one of them. I just absolutely feel that being a part of that community and having that experience, just, it's so nurturing and so fulfilling. And it's one of the biggest bonuses that I consider from your classes and your courses. I've taken other things before, and you kind of feel like you're off in a void doing it all by yourself. And that is not what happens here at all. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's a thank you, Margaret. Yeah, it's interesting. I've taken courses too where I'm in the course, but I don't really feel that connected to things.
Yeah. And I think it's really almost impossible if you're looking for tremendous growth to do it alone.
Yeah, right.
We're just not built for that. And having support, it also, we're in a world that isn't supportive of the kind of people we are, a lot of us anyhow.
Yeah.
Having that really is nurturing and helpful. And of course, you practice together, you help to heal each other. It's really profound.
It is. So as we're wrapping up here, the course starts February 11th, Holistic Spiritual Coach and Healing with EFT Certification Program for tremendous spiritual growth to support yourself, your career professionally, develop a new career. Business will help you and support you directly with that as well. 3 things I would say to do to go forward from this point as we close here is go to the website, the program, the website that explains the program, the description page, if you're not already there, at tinyurl.com/HOL coach, and there it is. And you can read the details. It starts February 11th. And number 2, set up this planning session because we have some very flexible payment plans. It's affordable. There's even some needs basis partial scholarships. We can discuss how to make it work for you if you're interested. Or just call us directly here at Awakenings Institute in California, 805-934-1238. And we would love to talk with you, see if this is a good fit for you. So anyways, going forward with your set points, now you know some more information, what they are, how to shift them, and we would encourage you to apply it, to go forward and take the next step and make some commitment to it because the benefits are tremendous. Jane, any parting words here?
Well, I think the one of the best ways to see reality as being fluid is to play games with it. And one thing I really enjoy doing is what we tell ourselves, of course, is what we're creating. So if you tell yourself, I'm in the flow with joy and ease, over and over throughout the day, notice, it actually does happen.
It does
things
happen.
become easier, things become more joyful. So play with it.
Yeah.
Give yourself room to experiment and enjoy.
Yeah. So it's been great being with you, Philip and Jane Montrose here, helping you get unstuck, flow, ease, pure potential going forward.